Wow, so that's it's already looking pretty formidable.
Yeah, and it's been very interesting. We've been tracking kind of Dorian as it's kind of come together over the past couple of days. And early on, we were hoping it would go over the island of Hispaniola. That's where you have the tall mountains, and that tends to kind of disrupt the tropical system.
Like a barrier reef sort
Right,
of.
yes. Did not happen. So now that that is the case, the system is getting more organized tonight and getting stronger and larger. So
all that warm water just fuels it.
Yes, and it's going to go into even warmer weather. So it's going to really start to take off here in the next couple of days. So let's talk about this and get you updated, because some of you may have plans heading down to Florida or the southeast coast, or maybe even just the Gulf of Mexico. All of those areas need to be aware that this storm is lurking out there, because the exact track of where this storm will be heading as it impacts the United States is not officially decided yet, because things are kind of changing as this system throws in a couple of wrenches in the forecast there. So again, this system is moving more towards the north right now, where it was originally expected to move more towards the west. And so that has an effect on the long range track. But you can see one of the biggest things here, this was good news for Puerto Rico. Most of the bad weather stayed offshore, so therefore they didn't have a large effect from this storm. The bad news, it did not disrupt the storm. So you can see it is well organized right now. Look at that eye wall that you see in there, and it's going to continue to get more organized in the coming days. Now, right now, it's also getting a little bit of wind shear and some dry air that's beginning to wrap around in this system. You see all these white lines? That's a lot of winds, and that's helping to rip apart any thunderstorms that try to grow right now. And that's keeping the system in check, even though it's still a pretty formidable storm, a formidable hurricane right now. But here's the problem. As we go into the coming days, as we get towards Friday and the weekend, it's going to move into this area here in the western Atlantic over towards the Bahamas. And that is an area where there is little to no wind shear. So there's nothing to really inhibit it from organizing even more. And the problem also is we have bathwater type temperatures here in the ocean. So we've got temperatures of 90 degrees or more. That's just pure fuel for tropical systems. So as Dorian moves into that, it's going to have moisture to feed off of. It's going to have warm temperatures to feed off of. And it's not going to have anything that could kind of tear it apart. Also, we have this big blocking high pressure sitting off of the southeast coast. That acts almost kind of a blocker like in football, and it's going to push the system more off towards the west. It can't turn the system to the north. So we're not going to see Dorian escape out into the Atlantic. So what that means, it has to make landfall somewhere along the United States here along the coastline there. And right now, our two major models are kind of focusing in on Florida. But there is a big difference here. One of our models, the American model that we use here, is now taking this system and showing kind of a little bit of a weakness here in this high pressure ridge. That would allow the system to track a little farther to the north. So it would make more direct impacts to places like Jacksonville and Daytona Beach. The European model is showing that this system will continue to be pushed off to the west by this strong ridge, and that means that this system will move towards Miami to Fort Myers over southern Florida, make a landfall there, and could potentially head into the Gulf of Mexico. That would be some really bad news. So right now, we're going to be watching. Watch how the system is kind of weak and disorganized for the first couple of days, but by the time we get towards this weekend, look at how this thing really organizes and takes off here, becoming a pretty strong hurricane there. And look at this as we get towards Sunday and the Monday, we notice some of the whites showing up in this area as well. That's indicating winds in that major hurricane category. So that's why we've got to watch this as it moves toward Florida as we get towards Labor Day. For us, we're watching a cold front. You see it now diving in out of Canada. We've got to keep a close eye on that as we go into our Thursday. I think we start off dry with a mix of sun and clouds, but by the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, we're going to have that front dropping in here. Could see some storms firing up near the Highway 20 corridor. Those could push on down towards the south as we go throughout the evening. And so we're going to watch that for you. Shouldn't last very long, but there's a chance of a couple of scattered storms during the afternoon and evening hours. And because of the daytime heating, we're getting those temperatures up into the mid-80s. A couple of these storms could be strong to severe. Main threats will be damaging winds, large hail. Here's some good news, though. We get that system out of here, and by Friday night, we're looking good for football with mainly clear skies. PV and Bettendorf takes the field there. Temperatures around 70 to kick off the game. That is our highlight zone game of the week. So if you're heading out there, make sure you bring something to cover your arms with. But overall, looking at some pleasant weather for that big game as well, and all the games across the area. Good luck to all the local teams. Showers and thunderstorms likely as we get into your Thursday afternoon and evening. Dry for the first half of the day. We dry it out for Friday and Friday night football, but watch out for Saturday. We could have some clouds, some rain showers around, and some folks' temperatures may actually hold into the 60s on Saturday. So it could be a cool fall-like day across the area before we rebound heading into Labor Day in the next week.